There has been a second assassination attempt on President Donald Trump. How is anyone getting that close to Donald Trump, let alone that close with a giant gun? Interestingly enough, everyone right now is going after Taylor Swift, which to me makes no sense.
F you, Taylor Swift.
She is, let's be honest, completely at escape velocity. No one is going to cancel Taylor Swift.
There are states in this country where babies are killed after birth.
Obviously, late term is egregious, and anyone who's fighting for that, you have no soul.
Can I still have an abortion at 34 weeks?
Yes, and I just have to do it in sync.
It doesn't matter.
These people are evil. Hello, everybody. You are listening or watching Chatting with Candice. I'm your host, Candice Horbacz. We're going to jump right into this week's episode. This is one of our solos where we are going to go over this week's updates, or I guess this will be last week's updates. There has been a second assassination attempt on President Donald Trump. I didn't believe this. I was just put my kiddos to bed on Sunday night, and I had a whole bunch of DMs and tweets asking me about it. And I was like, I had no idea, because I try to stay off of the internet when it's the weekend. So the shooting happened in West Palm Beach, Florida. Donald Trump was the target of what the FBI said appears to be an attempted assassination at his golf club in West Palm Beach, Florida on Sunday, just 9 weeks after the Republican presidential nominee survived another attempt on his life. The former president said that he was safe, and the authorities held the man in custody. U.S. Secret Service agents stationed a few holes up from where Trump was playing noticed a muzzle of an AK-style rifle sticking through the shrubbery that lines the course, roughly 400 yards away. An agent fired, and the gunman dropped the rifle and fled in an SUV, leaving the firearm behind, along with 2 backpacks, a scope used for aiming, and a GoPro camera. Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw said that the man was later stopped by law enforcement in a neighboring county. That is crazy. How is anyone getting that close to Donald Trump, let alone that close with a giant gun? I feel like a lot of people are not doing their job. We have a Trump Vance, statement alert from Trump. There were gunshots in my vicinity, but before rumors start spiraling out of control, I want you to hear it first. I am safe and well. Nothing will slow me down. I will never surrender. I will always love you for supporting me. Unity, peace, make America great again. This man is a beast. You see him post the 0-2? Oh my gosh. He tweeted, truth, did you call it a truth? On Truth Social from Donald J. Trump, I would like to thank everyone for your concern and well wishes. It was certainly an interesting day. Most importantly, I want to thank the U.S. Secret Service, Sheriff Rick Bradshaw and his office of brave and dedicated patriots, and all of the law enforcement for the incredible job done today at Trump International in keeping me as the 45th President of the United States and the Republican nominee in the upcoming presidential election safe. The job done was absolutely outstanding. I'm very proud to be an American. The shooter, from a Newsweek interview in 2022, talking about his support for Ukraine. This should be interesting.
asinine that we are in a country that does not understand the concept of being.
What I don't understand is why is he doing an interview? What's his background? So his name is Ryan Wesley Routh. He was interviewed in Romania in 2022. He looks like kind of a mess. I don't understand, I guess, the importance of the interview. I guess he likes Ukraine and he thinks Ukraine is good and Russia is bad. And I think anyone that's paying any kind of attention, it's not that simple. Ukraine is wildly corrupt as well. And if you think that we are going to war strictly for preservation of good, you haven't been paying attention. Yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously he doesn't like Trump. He tried to shoot him. So I don't know why everyone's focusing so much on the Ukraine piece. But I'm just catching up. So if you know, please put it in the comments because I'd love to learn more about what's going on in this season of our reality show that we call Election Year 2024. This is the 58-year-old Ryan Wesley Routh. A background check on Routh turned up about 50 pages of criminal activity. Yes, 50. Most of the charges state charges filed unspecified and cover a time span from 1984 to 2019. He's registered to vote in Guilford County, North Carolina. One of North Carolina's finest, huh? So are we thinking he's a plant? Is that what all of this data is about? Everyone right now is going after Taylor Swift, which to me makes no sense. I like Taylor Swift. Well, I take that back. I like Taylor Swift's music. I grew up on it. It's very fun. It's catchy. She's got a lot of bops. I don't care what her politics are. I think that she says what she says because she really thinks that she's a good person and she's standing up for the little guy. And that's fine. I think if you have a giant platform, it's your prerogative how you use that. Basically, if you're just trying to create movement behind a certain candidate or movement in general, something that you believe in, activism, that's your prerogative. So if that's what you want to do, by all means do it. And it's funny because the right has been the champion of free speech as of late. And then we have someone that's exercising their freedom of speech and they don't like it. So now they're trying to cancel her, which she is, let's be honest, completely at escape velocity. No one is going to cancel Taylor Swift. Her fans are super cutthroat. So it really doesn't make any sense to go after the Swifties. Attacking her as being single, again, like that's just a weird move. I would recommend against it. I would try to take the higher road and say, okay, like, way to at least try to get your fan base involved in politics. I don't agree with it, but you're trying to do something. I don't know, but bad move, I think. We are going to move on to, are they actually eating cats? And I'm so confused at this one. I keep seeing memes and clips of police officers and everyone saying that everyone is racist. So let's see what's happening. Who's eating cats and dogs?
Eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets.
And that's one person. I don't know if that's enough to cast all of them as eating cats and dogs, but it does make for an entertaining clip and news cycle. Next, to something even more troubling. Are women getting abortions late term? And even worse, are they killing the babies after they are born? So let's watch this clip from Daily Wire. This is Michael Knowles speaking.
I don't want to gloss over, though, the lie that they told. That they didn't fact check, all sorts of lies from Kamala.
That's right.
But when Trump pointed out that there are prominent Democrats and there are states in this country where babies are killed after birth, and Lindsey Davis came out and said that is not true. There is no state where this is happening. Not only is that a lie, but Kamala Harris's own running mate, Tim Walz, repealed protections for babies who survive abortions in the state of Minnesota.
Which, by the way, survives abortion in this instance means are born.
Are born.
Right.
So they try to kill the baby is born. There are legal protections in some states that say if the baby is born, you have to provide medical care as you would to any other human being. And Tim Walz, within the last 2 years, repealed those legal protections. That is Kamala's own running mate. It is the most egregious lie. It blows Candy Crowley 2012 out.
But you know how they get around that, though, because in that case, what they do is they put the baby to the side and leave the baby to just die. They don't directly kill the baby, and so that's like the game they're playing. Well, if you just leave a child to die, you're not killing him. which Trump, I mean, it would be a great thing to point out.
If you don't believe this, and if you don't think that this is happening, there are so many videos online of practitioners talking about this protocol of what happens if a botched abortion happens late term and the baby is born and alive. There are several videos that I've seen just in the last week of people calling their local Planned Parenthood and asking for late-term abortions, and the receptionist is helping getting them booked. There's no questions asked. Now, how many people are doing this? I have no idea. I would say one is too many. I think that the abortion topic is really interesting because if you ask most women if they've had one, they would say no. If you asked if they ever intended on getting one, they would say no. And yet people are just really like it's a hill that they're dying on for something that they don't really see themselves needing access to or necessarily even wanting access to. So it's for this imaginary person that wants this thing. And I'm not saying that no one gets them. Obviously, there are a lot of abortions that happen every single day. But to me, the winning stance on this is just to take a reasonable timeline. Maybe like point of viability. What I think doesn't matter. What you think doesn't matter. I think the less government involved is always the best answer. However, we do have an obligation to protect our most vulnerable. And if you have a baby that is actually born, I think that is crazy talk. So if you have a procedure that is allowed that far and then it gets botched, and to say that you don't have a responsibility to try to resuscitate that baby is really wild to me. And I understand the counterpoint, which is that the baby is going to be deformed or have all these abnormalities or have a really hard time. I don't know that that really matters, because if you had someone that was mangled in a car wreck, are you not going to try to save them? Is it not your obligation to try to save them? I don't know. I think the only thing is obviously late term is egregious, and anyone who's fighting for that, you have no soul. And we need to stop fighting each other on this topic because it's never going to be settled. It's a moral issue, and not everyone's morals are completely aligned with each other. Some people believe in souls, some people don't believe in souls. Some people believe in the sovereign right of the unborn baby, even if it's not a religious thing. Some people do not. They put the mother ahead of that. That's not for me to weigh in on. But what I would say, and the only thing that I have like a really strong opinion about, and I would hope most of you do, is that late term is egregious, shouldn't happen. You're a terrible person if you're doing that. That baby deserves to be born. And if you have a botched abortion, I mean, again, it shouldn't be happening in the first place, and you should be trying to resuscitate that baby. That's really sickening to me. What? Kamala actually does want to take away your guns. Let's check this out, because during the debate, she made it very clear that she's not trying to take anyone's guns and that she is a gun owner. Which is insane, because why don't we all know if you make something illegal, it just won't happen anymore. Careful who you vote for, kids. Moving on to some fitness content online, YouTube is now limiting recommendations of certain health and fitness videos to teenagers, including those to which idealize certain body types. It says that 13 to 17-year-old users will still be able to search for and view fitness-related content, but will not be encouraged into repeated viewing of similar videos. YouTube says it's acting out of concerns based off of exposure to such material that can lead people down negative beliefs about themselves. They want us fat and unhealthy. I'd have to see the videos that they're blocking or not sending you down a rabbit hole, because while the whole body positive movement has obviously gone way too far, it absolutely needed a correction, especially in the 90s and early 2000s. And surprisingly, there's still a lot of young ladies that suffer from a lot of eating disorders, especially if they're already the type of person that's seeking out nutritional and fitness advice. I did a call with this fitness company that we're looking at using, and he was saying the vast majority of young people, especially young girls that are coming to them for training, are restricting their calories by like basically a dangerous amount, because they think if they eat more they're going to get fat. So they're really undernourished and they're not having a lot of energy and they're not performing well, and they're athletes. So you kind of have to know the market. I think it would, again, you have to see the videos that they're actually banning. If it's the bikini modeling, we all know that's not good for you. It looks good, you get a medal, but those ladies are like a day away from collapsing. So I could understand not really promoting that, but if it's just general weightlifting, eating clean, I don't know. So I would have to see some context. I don't know if you've seen this on your algorithm. Let me know. Tag me in some videos that you see that are getting blocked, because I think it's so quick to jump into everyone wants us fat. Well, maybe, but also there are other people on the other side that have issues with eating disorders, so they don't need to be seeing garbage content either. Let's look at this tweet. This is from Michael Sebastian. Reminder that if you exercise, you are a white supremacist. This is from Time Magazine. The white supremacist origins of exercise and 6 other surprising facts about the history of the U.S. physical fitness. This is bonkers. And I feel like all of this is a direct attack on Joe Rogan. Like they just like take things that he says are good for you to do, and instead of just attacking him directly because they don't want to get sued, they're just like, oh, what does he promote? Healthy lifestyle. Well, that must be racist. So let's talk about how racist it is to lift weights and eat meat. I don't know who's reading this. It's an 11-minute read. If you want to spend 11 minutes trying to be brainwashed about the white supremacist origins of exercise, by all means, spend that 11 minutes. But again, that's just so crazy to me. Be healthy. They don't want you healthy because then you're a threat. Then you can defend yourself. You can defend your family. Then your mind works, and then you can actually think about things about how bullshit that article must be. Let's talk about Ozempic. Lottie Moss was rushed to the hospital after she took high doses of Ozempic given to her by a friend who bought it under the counter from a doctor. The Model 26 was violently ill, suffering a seizure and severe dehydration after taking the drug when she weighed 60 kilograms, just 9 stone. I don't know what that means because I'm American. She said she would rather die than use Ozempic again, which is meant to treat the obese for diabetes and has been suffering global shortages. I'm guessing 9 stone is not a lot. Let's check. Hey Siri, how much is 9 stone in pounds? 126 pounds, and you're taking Ozempic and a high dose. So I've heard about microdosing it. There's this Dr. Tara, I think. Let me see really quick. Is it Dr. Tara? I'll have to find her. We'll see if I can find her and throw her in the notes. But she's kind of been making the idea of microdosing Ozempic really popular as far as longevity. She's showing that it reduces inflammation, it can reverse certain autoimmune disorders, and it can promote longevity. And even there's talks about it being really good for brain health and other neurodegenerative disorders. It's still very new, but this is like a microdose that she's talking about. So the issue that I've heard with Ozempic in particular, it's not the drug, it's the dosage. So if you have some moron who weighs 126 pounds and she's doing a high dose of Ozempic, of course it's going to be a problem. If I go downstairs and just funnel my pot of coffee, of course that's going to be a problem. So sometimes I think we have to look at dosage and not necessarily the product. I think medicine is, it's not always that cut and dry. And you all know that I'm not a big fan of big pharma. So it's not me being a simp for big pharma, but it is saying that the dose does matter, especially with this, because I don't want to create a stigma around a drug that could very much save a lot of people's lives. So you have over 70% of the US that is considered medically obese. That is probably more dangerous than taking Ozempic and taking it the right way while you're lifting weights and making sure you're getting your protein in. So I think the problem is you have these, again, people that aren't supposed to be taking it, and if they are taking it, they're taking it at the wrong dose, kind of a problem. So let's check out this tweet from Colin Rugg. This is the 26-year-old model, and she's going to talk about it. And when you see her, my eyes are already rolling. This is going to be painful. Here we go. You her head barely fits on her frame. She is so tiny. Again, unless you're microdosing it, she has no business with that drug. Zero business. This is going to be the serious side effects of Ozempic. And again, I think that this is a dosage problem, but let's watch the video.
Millions upon millions of Americans have turned to prescription medications to treat diabetes and lose weight. These GLP-1 drugs, better known by brand names like Ozempic, Wegovy, and others, are very popular. According to Gallup, about 15 million U.S. adults say they've used these injectable drugs to reduce their body weight, and some say those drugs can have serious negative health effects. Our senior investigative correspondent, Anna Werner, has been looking into that part of the story. Anna, good morning.
Good morning, Tony. Yeah, you know, many doctors say these GLP-1 medications can offer dramatic benefits for patients, but some patients say they've had serious side effects, ranging from nausea and vomiting to needing emergency surgery. Even doctors admit they can't always know who might experience these rare complications, like one woman from Pennsylvania.
Diabetes is rampant in my family, and I knew that all plays with weight.
Juanita Gantz struggled with her weight. At age 62, she weighed 242 pounds. Yet the most she could lose trying various diets, she says, was about 20 pounds.
I almost felt defeated and humiliated. I mean, why couldn't I lose this weight?
Then she saw ads for drugs, including Ozempic. Her doctor agreed that because of her diabetes risk, she was a good candidate for one of those drugs and prescribed her Wegovy and later Ozempic, both GLP-1 drugs made by Novo Nordisk.
How were you feeling?
I was feeling fine. I enjoyed the days that I didn't have to worry about my appetite. I didn't, have cravings. I just felt like I was doing something positive for myself.
But several months later, in October 2023, Gantz's husband found her on the floor unconscious. This photo was taken by her daughter, a nurse at the hospital where Gantz was taken.
I had no idea what had happened to me.
Doctors found parts of her large intestine had died. It had to be removed. Then, while recovering from surgery, she went into cardiac arrest, prompting the hospital to call her daughter to warn her her mother could die.
It breaks my heart that my daughter got that phone call. It's horrible. Underneath here is...
Gantz wanted to show us how she lives now. With her colon gone, she has a bag called an ileostomy bag attached to her abdomen at all times to collect waste.
I had no warning that this was even a possibility.
She's now suing drug maker Novo Nordisk, claiming its drug labels do not adequately warn patients and doctors about potentially serious side effects, including gastroparesis or stomach paralysis and bowel obstruction. Gantz's attorney, Parvin Amino-Roya.
It's put a lot of resources into marketing the drug, hundreds of millions of dollars to expand the market, get new patients for the drug, but it hasn't spent that money on warning patients of the risk of gastroparesis, ileus, small bowel obstruction, and the fact that these injuries can be severe, even if it's in a rare case.
Novo Nordisk declined to do an on-camera interview, but in a statement said the known risks and benefits of the medicines are described.
No one reads those. No one reads those. I'm not going to play the rest of the video because I feel like we get the gist. That's my biggest criticism when it comes to anything with big pharma and your medical provider. Conscious consent are risks, benefits, and alternatives. If you're not doing all three, you are a drug dealer. Plain and simple. You have to have the person sit down and actually know what they're signing up for. No one's going home and reading that. They're getting hypnotized by these commercials that we are one of 2 countries in the world that are allowed to do. And we hypnotize someone saying, oh, look at this beautiful skinny woman running in the field in a white dress and she's carefree. If you take Ozempic, you're going to be good. And she goes to the doctor and she's not a professional. She didn't do her research. She just wants to feel like that lady in the commercial. And now she has to poop in a bag for the rest of her life. So that sucks. And again, I don't know how much of this is happening based off of what dosage. My guess is that it's probably a dosage issue. If not, man, I hate to break it to you. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but to lose weight, some certain truths will always be there and they're inescapable and they will work. It's you have to be at a deficit, you have to be lifting weights, and you have to be doing cardio. It's those 3 things and you will lose weight. I understand some people are in a place, and I have been there, not because of like weight, but because of other health issues where you physically cannot do those things. I understand that. And then that's where you have to look at alternatives like a drug potentially. But I think that you need to make sure you're not getting it off of one of those sites. I think you can get this now off of TikTok or Snapchat, something like that. They're doing the telehealth with this. Terrible idea. You want to find a reputable provider. You want conscious consent, and you need to make that decision for yourself. And if that risk is worth that reward, and if your health is so bad that you're probably going to die anyways, then maybe pooping in a bag is better than dying. So you have to make those decisions for yourself. I don't like that everyone is glamorizing this drug, and I don't understand why all of these super skinny people are taking it. That makes no sense. We have RFK Jr. talking on Ozempic. $1,500 a week. Holy shit. That's a really good point too. Is if we're going to have government pay for it, why not pay for the healthier alternative? Because guess who's not getting paid? And then this one's just for fun. This is celebrities with Ozempic face. Ay, ay, ay. What's funny is that you have the Ozempic face. So this is what I think is happening. I've got a conspiracy theory, so buckle up. Everyone is on Ozempic. They want their body to be Kate Moss cocaine thin, but then they don't like the hollowing out and like that gaunt look that happens. So then they fix this problem with pillow face. So the reason that pillow face is so popular right now is because everyone doing it is or was on Ozempic, and they're trying to fill out all of the volume that they lost from the drug. You heard it here first. This is my conspiracy theory, but I think that I think there's something to it. I think that's why pillow face is so big. Don't do either. Don't do either. That doesn't look healthy. Wait, hopefully this isn't a lower third so you guys can see this. It looks sick. Like these people all look so sick, and I think you have to look at that and not just blast yourself up with filler and pretend that you're healthy. Next, we're going to move on to Australian social media restrictions. The Australian federal government said Tuesday that it will introduce legislation this year that bans children from accessing social media. The exact age has yet to be determined. The plan, announced by Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, aligns with moves other governments around the Asia-Pacific region are seeking to rein in online media and social media in particular. Many in the region are concerned that social media platforms are causing addictive behavior, enabling bullying, gambling, and facilitating cybercrimes. Albanese called the impact of social media on young people a scourge. I don't know what that means, but obviously it's bad. Australia is to ban it. Let's check this out. I think it's a video. Cringeworthy opposition to the ban.
Today I rise to address an oft-forgotten segment of our society. I speak of Generation Z, who will be playing a substantial role in the next election, and Generation Alpha, who will start to come of age the election after. It is for this reason that I shall now render the remainder of my statement using language they're familiar with. To the Sigmas of Australia, I say that this goofy-air government have been capping, not just now but for a long time. A few of you may remember when they said there'll be no phantom tax under the government I lead. They're capaholics. They're also yapaholics. They yap non-stop about how their cost of living measures are changing lives for all Australians. Just put the fries in the bag, little bro. They tell us that they're locked in on improving the housing situation in this country. They must have brain rot from watching too much Kai Cenat and forgot about their plans to ban social media for kids under 14. If that becomes law, you can forgo skull emoji all about watching Duke Dennis or catching a dub with the bros on Fort. Chat, is this Prime Minister serious? Even though he's the Prime Minister of Australia, sometimes it feels like he's the CEO of Ohio. I would be taking an L if I did not mention the Ops, who want to cut WA's Gyats and Services tax. The decision voters will be making in a few months' time will be between a mid-government, a dog-water opposition, or a crossbench that will mog both of them. Though some of you cannot yet vote, I hope when you do, it will be in a more goated Australia for a government with more aura. Skibbity.
Oh my God, I just lost a few brain cells. That is actually the best case to ban it for any child, right there. If my kids come home talking like that, Lord help them. Lord help them. We're going to turn Amish real quick. That is insane. I don't believe that a 12-year-old needs to be on social media. A 13-year-old needs to be on social media. As it stands right now, I would say the limit in my household, and obviously I'm still in the beginning stages of parenthood, but I would say 16 or 17. You get it a year before you leave the house, if that's the plan. And if not, you better have a real good reason why you want to be on the internet. Like you're trying to launch something, and then you got to write me a business plan as to why you're doing it. Because to me, that's what social media is for. It's to build a brand. It's to build a business. If you want to share pictures, that should be done directly with the people you want to share them with, not a whole bunch of strangers online where you can be taken advantage of, or you can have your brain rotted like that young lady's. So yeah, she just made the best case ever to ban social media for children. Oh my gosh, abortion in Missouri. Why is this in the notes? Missouri's top court on Tuesday ruled that a proposed abortion rights amendment to the state constitution will appear on the ballot in November. The decision will allow voters to decide whether to restore legal abortion in Missouri for the first time in more than 2 years. The state enacted a trigger law in 2022 that effectively banned abortion following the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to strike down a federal right to the procedure. The Missouri ruling overturned the lower court's decision the last week to remove the amendment following the lawsuit from an anti-abortion group. You know what I do like, though? I do think this is a states' rights issue. I don't think it's any business of the federal government, and I like that it's moving to states' rights.
That brings me to the ballot initiative that we're facing here in the state of Missouri, Amendment 3. This is one of the most radical pieces of legislation that would alter our Constitution forever in the state of Missouri. You talk about taking the inheritance of our fathers. Let's just talk about for a second what's on this ballot initiative, because they're not being honest with you about what's on it. They're not being honest with you about what it contains, and they're not being honest with you about what it would do. This ballot initiative would change the Missouri Constitution. It's not a law, it's constitutional. It would change the Missouri Constitution to mandate taxpayer-funded abortion on demand all 9 months of pregnancy. Taxpayer-funded. Listen, we've had a lot of disagreement over abortion in this country for a long time. One thing we've always agreed on, all 50 states in the United States, all the way to the United States Congress, is we're not going to use taxpayer money to fund abortions. Well, they would do it now. This would mandate it in our Constitution. Taxpayer-funded abortion all 9 months. No parental notification for minors, let alone parental consent. But I tell you, it's not just about abortion. This amendment, supposedly about women's rights, never uses the word woman. Read it. Never uses the word woman. Why is that? I'll tell you why. Because the amendment explicitly says it's not limited to abortion. It says it will will mandate constitutionally all reproductive health services, and that includes transgender treatments for minors. We're talking about transgender surgeries. We're talking about hormone treatments. We're talking about puberty blockers. It will be written into the Missouri Constitution. And any doctor who performs these surgeries, who performs these treatments without parental notification, without parental consent, will be immunized and protected by this amendment. We've seen this happen in this state. At Washington University, right here in this state, in the city of St. Louis, we had a clinic, a so-called gender clinic, that was performing these surgeries on minors because of brave whistleblowers who came forward. These people, by the way, were not Republicans, not conservatives at all, but they just...
Well, if that's true, that is crazy. I have not read the bill, so I can't really speak to what's in it or what's not in it, but that would be bonkers. I don't think your taxes should be going to any of that, especially because it's still such a contentious topic. We're not even close to agreeing on it, so how you collect taxes for that is crazy.
Right, calling the Care Clinic in Bethesda, Maryland.
Thank you for calling Care. How can I help you?
I am looking to have an abortion.
How far along are you?
I'm 34 right now. I am in a pretty desperate situation. My boyfriend is kind of out of the picture now, so I don't really have any support.
An abortion at any stage is actually much safer than delivering a term pregnancy. It's a 4 to 5 day procedure. We do some basic lab work on you and start to dilate your cervix. After that, we do what we call the fetal injection. A needle is inserted through the abdomen and into the fetal heart where lidocaine is injected, and that will completely numb the fetus so there's no pain. And then after that, we inject a medication called digoxin and another medication called KCL into the fetal heart, which will slow and then stop the fetal heartbeat. And then on that 4th day, depending on how your cervix is dilated, we'll break your water, and then we'll give you a medication called misoprostol. Misoprostol will sort of induce contraction and increase the dilation of your cervix. You're going to have contractions and cramping, and then we'll assist you in sort of pushing in the induction and then remove all of the products of conception. You're definitely going to feel discomfort and cramping and a lot of pressure, but we do give you fentanyl and Versed during the procedure. We specialize in later trimester care. Our doctor is very well versed in what he's doing, and he's very good.
So I'm not like a rare situation. Y'all help women this late in pregnancy all the time?
All the time.
What did they say? I almost started crying. That is so disgusting. Products of conception? You mean a fucking baby? You mean a baby? These people are evil. Absolutely evil. And I try not to share my opinion on abortion because it's just my opinion, and I don't want my opinion to my opinion doesn't matter. But when we're talking that late, you are a monster. You're a monster if you're doing it. You're a monster if you're helping with the procedures. You're a monster if you're voting for it. I don't understand how we have gotten so lost as a people that is okay. 34 weeks, that is insanity. That is insanity. Oh my God. Oh, we have another example. Oh my God. 34 weeks. That is so crazy to me. That is so, and then that lovely lady said it doesn't matter. Okay. Okay. If nothing matters, nothing matters. It matters. It absolutely matters. We have the age of consent wars. This should be good. Not all of us share the same values, and I think it's very important that when we are talking about immigration, that we need to agree on certain principles, and maybe age of consent is one of those. You see story after story where certain people, certain ideologies think it's okay to force themselves onto women and young girls, and that's being allowed to enter is it's going to be a bigger problem than it already is. I think we have to stop calling everything phobic and just address it for what it is. And it's certain people have not reached a point of enlightenment, or they're not playing at the level of consciousness that the rest of us are. And we need to say, you're not welcome here. This is from Darren Grimes. Woman is attacked inside. The police focused on the woman's use of language about what she said about the migrant that had just attacked her. We have to be mindful and demure. We can't use that language on the sidewalks. I'm going to challenge you, and you might actually be under arrest for being assaulted because you're mad at your assailant. It's something heartfelt. Let's watch it. I love that so much. I'm so glad that's the clip we're ending on. September is Suicide Awareness Month, and I want to see more of that. I want to see more people, more men reaching out to the men in their lives that they love and find inspirational and care about, and check in. Just check in with your friends. And it's funny because the immediate reaction is like, is everything okay? This is so weird and out of sorts. So do it more often so that it's not weird, and then receive it. But yeah, do more of that. That's beautiful. Check in with everybody. I hope that you have an amazing week. Thank you for listening. Love you all, and I will see you next week. Bye, everybody.